Oh boy, Elfman is not what I would consider to be a good film. And I mustn't be alone because it has 3.5 out of 10 on IMDb. Now, I have reviewed approximately 60 Christmas films in the last 6 weeks. I'm making the most of lockdown and my Hallmark TV subscription. This is not a Hallmark film, I must stress that. And I thought I'd watch a non-Hallmark film, and I chose this one, which was on, it was either Netflix or Amazon Prime. And I thought it looked really fun and sounded really fun, and I watched it and just thought that's not good. So I will say two things before I get in further with what it's actually about. First of all, although I'm the target audience in the sense that it's a family film and I love family films, I feel like this one is definitely more geared towards the child in that family bracket. There are family films that the whole family can enjoy, but I feel like this is much more of a children's film than it is a family film. And if you want to watch a film about a Christmas elf, just watch Elf. It's much, much, much better. The other thing is that I think the acting was very good. I'm not going to talk too much about the characters in this because I didn't engage with anybody. I didn't find anybody interesting. But I will say they were well acted. I have no issues with any of the acting. Nobody stood out as having bad acting. I just didn't particularly find any of the characters that interesting. And I did actually have a problem with the elf character, not because of the acting, but because of the way he was. So I will read the description from IMDb, which is fairly accurate. An elf is left behind by Santa to help rescue the Harper family from a lousy Christmas. The elf and the family get more than they bargained for as the kids help the elf discover his special powers and true identity as a budding superhero. First of all, there's a gigantic gimmick there. Elf and superhero, you're mixing two completely different elements that a lot of films use. And to me, an elf already has magical powers, so why he'd need to be a superhero and what that would actually add, I don't know. I thought it was a very gimmicky narrative, and I probably should have expected that when I read the title as being Elfman and not Elfman, as in Danny. I just didn't think that was very good at all. I also didn't like the character of the elf. He is not what I want from a Christmas elf, from one of Santa's elves. He's too harsh, too forceful, too aggressive in his speech. He's not this sugary candy cane elf that I love. He's certainly not a happy, jolly elf. So I didn't like the character of the elf, and it's not what I want from an elf story. And try and find something positive about the narrative. The pacing was fine. It did take us a little bit to get to actually meet the elf. That did take longer than I would have liked. But once we meet the elf, things progressed at a pretty reasonable pace. But just the premise is completely not very entertaining. I do think if you were a young child or you have a particular penchant for superheroes or elves, then I think you might enjoy it. But if you're looking for a family film that the whole family will enjoy, Elfman, for me, is just definitely not one of those films.